Okay, so let's move on after visualizing the monthly churn trend line chart. We visualize customer churn by plan type. So in this section, we compare the customer churn rates across basic, premium, and standard plans. So I think a bar chart is suitable because we are comparing one numerical value, the churn rate, across different categories. So first step is to understand the data. So as you can see, dfvisual.head, it displays the first 5 rows of the visualization data set. And that's what you can see. So we use it quickly to confirm that the data set is available and the columns such as plan type, you can see, where is it? Plan types and churn flags. I want to see that, yeah, plan type. And then there is churn flag. There's a plan type. And yeah, I think it's hidden inside this somewhere. Yep. So anyway, we then, because we now get through head, understand that there's plan tab and churn flag, obviously because we have created that column, so it should be there because there are like 25 columns. So yeah, it could be there in there somewhere. So as you can see, this query is div visual plan type and churn flag dot head. So we just get the plan type and churn flag because we cannot see the churn flag here. Then we calculate the churn rate by plan types. So as you can see, churn plan bracket df visual dot group by bracket plan type list churn flag dot mean and churn flag. So as you can see, df visual is the data frame used for visualization, which we have used a copy of the data frame. Dot group by, that's a plan type. This separates the customer records into groups based on plan type. What dot group by bracket plan type does, it separates the customer records into groups based on plan types. So the data set is divided into basic, premium, and standard. Then why is churn flag in list column? After grouping the data, we select only churn flag column because this is the value we want to calculate. Right? After grouping of all the data by group by and group by plan type, we select only churn flag column because this is the value we want to calculate. Dot mean, as you can see, this calculates the average churn flag for each plan because the churn flag contains only 0 and 1. So the average becomes the churn rate. For example, suppose 5 basic plan customers have these values like 1, 1, 1, 0, 0. This means 3 divided by 5, that's 0.60, right? Therefore, the churn rate is 60%. The result is stored in a variable called churn plan, right? So this is like the variable churn plan. Then we have df visual, which is a data frame. Then dot group by plan type is basically making sure that the customer records into group are based on plan type. So this basically separates the customer records into groups based on plan type. And churn flag is there because after grouping the data, we select only churn flag column because this is the value we want to calculate. And dot mean, this calculates the average churn flag for each plan. Okay, so perfect. Now let's move on to step 3, that is to create first visualization. So first of all, you see when we just, for example, here, as you can see, So as you can see, first the basic churn rate is basic plan churn rate is 60%, premium plan churn rate is 14.3%, and standard plan churn rate is around 22.2%. So displaying the results before plotting helps us confirm that the calculation is correct. So let's create the first visualization. We again use plt.figure. So this creates a chart area with width area of 7 and a height of 4. Then we use plt.bar, that's a bar chart. This creates initial bar chart by planned index and planned values. So churn plan.index, this index contains the plan names, basic, premium, and standard. So these values are displayed on the x-axis. Churn plan values, the values contain the churn rates. So these values determine the height of each bar. In simple terms, use the plan names as categories and their churn rates as bar heights. Then comes plt.show, which shows the first version of the chart. The chart is technically correct, but it does not yet contain a title, axis, label, or improved formatting. So that's why I moved to step 4. That's to improve the visualization. As you can see in step 4, we have to churn by plan type. So we use the query same as churn plan is equal to dfvisuals.group by plan type churn flag.mean. So this repeats the churn rate calculation so that the final visualization had the required data available. Result is the same as the earlier calculation. Then colors is equal to plot plt.cm.set2 and then np.linespace 01 lect churn plan. So this creates a set of colors for the bars. Since there are 3 plans, the result is 3. So np.linespace bracket 0, 1, len churn plan. This creates 3 evenly spaced numbers between 0 and 1. These numbers are used to select different colors from color map. And plt.cm.sec2 is a matte plot-lipped color palette. So it converts the generated value into 3 different colors. The final colors are stored in variable colors. And then we have plt.figure. Fixed size is 7,4. This creates a figure for the improved bar chart. Then the plt.bar. So this creates an improved bar chart. Okay. What it does, it creates the improved bar chart. Churn plan index provides the plan names. Churn plan values provides the churn rates and colors. Applies different colors to each bar. So let's add the chart title now. So as you can see, we have added a chart title, plt.title, customer churn rate by plan type, then plt.xlabel, that's plan type, and plt.ylabel, that's average churn rate. Okay, so here you can see this is y-axis, this is x-axis, which is the plan type, and then there's a title. Okay, so this is very simple. And then we do the plt.show, which shows the chart. So this has displayed the complete chart with the title, x-axis and y-axis. So what is the difference here? As you can see, there is not much of a difference. We have kept the bar shown there. It's just that we have put in colors. So they are like random colors showing up here. Okay. The plan.index, plan.values are there in a proper way. And yeah, I think as you can see now, the basic plan has the highest churn rate at 60%. The standard plan has the churn rate of approximately 22.2%, while the premium plan has the lowest churn rate of around 14.3%. So this suggests that the basic plan customers are leaving at much higher rate than customers using the other plans. So the business should investigate possible reasons such as limited features, low perceived value, pricing concerns, poor customer experience, or customer upgrading or switching to alternatives. However, because this is a small simulation data set, the result should be interpreted as an observed pattern rather than a final conclusion about a large customer population. Perfect. So next we'll analyze the customer churn rate by state in the next video. So yeah, I hope you learned something from this.